In Chapter 1, you're going to get a definition of what is an organization. And you'll find that it's an interdependent system of two or more people trying to reach a particular goal. That definition applies to any kind of an organization and is absolutely basic to what we're going to do throughout the semester. Because if you looked at the name of the course, it said organizational behavior and diversity. Now, the diversity part of it we'll deal with more beginning next week. But the organizational behavior part encompasses the knowledge that we have from sociology, social psychology, political science, and all the social sciences about these formal systems called organizations. And you're in one. It's called the University of New Mexico. You're in another one. It's called this classroom. And are you enrolled in more than one class, sir? How many, sir? 4. Okay, you're in 4 organizations, each differing from the other, right? And different professors, different students, different topics, different goals, and so on. So we have, in your lives, you have lived through various types of organizations. If you are employed, you're in an employing organization, and so on with school. Then we have 2 different branches of knowledge that are contained in the course and in the book. One is called organizational behavior, the other is organizational theory. That may not sound like a distinction to you, but when you read that section, I think you will see that organizational behavior is the interdisciplinary science of looking at people's behavior in organizations and trying to understand it. So it includes a whole batch of fairly powerful ideas, such as human perception and how that affects people's behavior, the role of personality in one's behavior in a system, the leadership processes, the conflict processes, the motivational processes. And if you look at the syllabus, you'll see the major topic areas cover a whole batch of items. Organizational theory typically deals with the structure of an organization. Now, remember, for those of you who were here when we got started, I commented that I wanted you to move down into the forward part. I don't think I want you to do that. I want to see what happens. This room seats about 100 people. And I let the course go to 50. It originally was capped at 40, but I kept getting requests, so I opened it up, and none of you need yellow cards signed, I'm assuming. Nobody, okay. But it's already apparent to me, and we've been together for 42 minutes, that there's subgroups in this room. I predict, ma'am, that you're going to sit in that seat for the entire semester. She put her gum under the seat. I predict. Watch what's going to happen. I'll predict that you're going to sit in that seat all semester, and then you'll change and you go back up there. But I'm looking at clusters. Do you 3 know each other? Right.
I peed on my seat already.
Well, yeah. Right, and then you put your gum underneath, you're home. That's a subgroup. And that's the way organizations break out into clusters of people. And do you happen to know anybody in this room? Yourself? No. But I can see clusters where even if you're not speaking to each other in a side conversation, possibly you know each other. And we do that. We will put distance between ourselves and strangers. And then we'll get a little bit closer to people that we know. And then if you go to Brazil, they are in your face. I'm telling you, the guys stand there, they pull on each other's coat. They did this to me when I went to Brazil several years ago. You know, I'm backing away. You'll learn that there's spatial distances that are the norm in certain cultures. Ours is like about 5 feet, 3, 5, 4, 5 feet, something of that sort. Others are much closer. People stand closer to each other. All right, I'll let the rest of the chapter, except for what I'm going to write on the board here, let it speak for itself, because I'd like to demonstrate the use of the film scene so that you can understand that it is not entertainment only. I have a purpose to it. It's a learning purpose and a teaching purpose. And I've done it in at least 11 countries outside the United States where English is not the native language in most of the cases, and this stuff is powerful. And it's no joke. I own at least 1,000 films and adding to it rather regularly. If you, in Chapter 1, there is a section called Historical Foundations. Now, this is history, and it goes back to 1911, almost 100 years. And it's a history of organizational and management thinking as deposited by a group of scholars who, in the field, are renowned for what they contributed. And I'm going to summarize this, let you read the detail in the chapter. I don't want to go through every single item. And then I want to see if we can discover any of these ideas, going back to 1911, in the film scenes that I choose to show to you. So the first one is called Scientific Management. Now, in this chapter, I happen to use people's names, but you're not required to memorize people's names. If they appear on the examination at all, they appear in parentheses, simply as a reminder. So don't have to memorize the names, but I want you to know who these personalities are. This one comes from a guy by the name of Frederick Taylor, who is highlighted in a film called Cheaper by the Dozen, the original one. I think it was a remake of it, but anyway, he's in the original. And he introduced something called time and motion study, which was a way of studying work processes to find out the optimal way to carry out the goal of the process. As an example, it's one of his most famous studies of shoveling coal in an iron foundry. If you know anything about coal, and there's no reason you should, hard coal, soft coal, just as the range, would you say that soft coal weighs less per mass than hard coal? The answer is yes. And when Taylor came to this iron foundry, he saw that when the workers went to get their shovels from whoever dispensed the shovels, they got handed a shovel that was like random. It had nothing to do with what you were doing. So just think, I hand you a big shovel, I hand you a little shovel, a big shovel, and a big shovel. Now you're going to go out with that big shovel, pretend it's a snow shovel, and you're going to shovel hard coal. And you're going to go with your itty-bitty shovel, and you're going to shovel soft coal. Is there any logic to this at all? No. And Taylor said, you're crazy. You weigh the coal, you figure out how much is in a certain mass of it that a shovel will hold, and then you assign the shovel size to the person who's going to shovel certain kinds of coal. They did it in an improved efficiency. Now, the logic there is an analysis of the work system and coming up with a better way of doing what is necessary to do. Then along came a Frenchman whose name is Henri Fayol. His book that he wrote was obviously originally published in French and not translated into English until the 1940s. But this is 1911. This is 1919. He was a manager of a French mining firm. And he discovered that there seemed to be a set of guiding rules about how to manage an organization, such as having people reporting to a single individual, not a whole mass of people, following a chain of command. And I'm paraphrasing. I'll let the text give you the details. And with the publication of this in 1919 and eventually in English in the United States in the early 1940s, we had the first comprehensive view of how to manage a human system.